Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me again. This is episode 2 of the new podcast, True Crime and Combat Sports. I hope you all enjoyed the first episode. I promised I will improve each time, so I hope that you'll notice each episode getting a little bit better and better. But I wanted to, before I actually get into this week's episode, I wanted to give an update from the Jon Jones incident. If you haven't listened to that podcast episode yet, go back. It's episode 1. Obviously, since this is episode 2. And it's just a little bit of an update on the last incident that I spoke about. So it looks like Jon was given a new charge relating to the case that I spoke about last week. He was actually charged with it's a little bit confusing. He was given an additional charge, which is every single thing that he was charged with before with an extra charge. And this extra charge is the use of telephone to terrify, intimidate, threaten, harass, annoy, or offend. So if you're looking at the paperwork, it looks like he has 2 separate cases and they're nearly identical. The second one has that additional charge for it, and I'll speak a little bit about that at the end. But we also received a few new details from the incident that we hadn't learned before, or maybe we did and I hadn't picked up on them. So I wanted to provide a little bit more context. The accident the police initially responded to, it looked like it was maybe just the one car. Maybe the car had hit a pole or hit a curb or something like that. Even in the video, it didn't appear there was another car around. But in this additional report, it does say that there was 2 cars involved. It doesn't say exactly who hit who or what happened there, but there is another car. We don't know who was in that car. We don't know if anyone was hurt in the other car, but there actually is somebody else involved in this, a separate car. And also, in the audio you guys heard last week, we hear him allegedly threaten, or we allegedly hear him. I guess we can't prove it's him yet, but we hear somebody that we think is Jon Jones threatening somebody on the phone, and it appears that there was a second officer that also spoke with the man who could be Jon Jones, and that officer was also threatened. That wasn't on the recording that we have, so it looks like there's 2 men that Jon Jones allegedly threatened. We also know a little bit more about the phone records. We already knew that he had called, or Jon Jones had texted the woman that was in the car on the recording 13 times, but now we know that those calls and texts came between 2:17 a.m. and 11:34 a.m., which would be right after the accident. And the police report also indicates that there was a gap in Jones's location during the times of 11:51 p.m. and 2:11 a.m., which was at the time of the accident. So that sort of implies that perhaps he was doing something else during that time and he wasn't on his phone. And you can use your imagination what that might be that he was doing, why he might not have been using his phone during that time, and maybe why he started texting that woman, it looks like about 5 minutes after the alleged incident happened. Jones has already pleaded not guilty for the first set of charges, and he's set to appear on August 14th. And there's also been paperwork filed to dismiss the second duplicate charges. So this is what his lawyer had to say about the duplicate charges. Mr. Jones is already facing prosecution in a separate case for the same factual allegations set forth in the criminal complaint in this matter, and it was wholly improper for this separate case to be filed. The court should dismiss this case as it violates the mandatory joinder rule. The incidents at issue in both cases are one and the same. Mr. Jones now is forced to defend himself again in 2 separate cases involving the same exact factual allegations. It is unknown why name redacted and name redacted officers who were both involved in the investigation of this case would not communicate and coordinate who would file charges, but that seems to be what happened, unless the truth is that these law enforcement officers intentionally violated the same mandatory joinder rule for some improper strategic purpose. Either way, the result in this case should be dismissed, as Mr. Jones has been this word is hard for me, guys, impersonally charged twice for the same underlying incident. So basically what he's saying is it's against the law to file 2 of the exact same cases with the same details, which I mean, I agree with him. It does seem weird that it's been filed twice. So I definitely think we're going to see one of them be dismissed. I don't believe that both will be dismissed, but you never know when it comes to Jon Jones what exactly will happen. He definitely has good lawyers, and they may capitalize on this mistake. I don't know how bad this could be or how bad this could make the department look, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. So that's the update on Jon Jones, and stay tuned for a next little story here. It's going to be a little bit shorter, but it's a really important one, and I hope you guys stick for it. Thank you. This is episode 2 of Shadowboxing, True Crime and Combat Sports, and I'm your host, Amy Kaplan. Today I want to talk to you about the murder of Mylik Birdsong. Mylik Birdsong was born on November 16, 1992 in Los Angeles, and was the sole surviving triplet born to his mother. There's not a lot of information about his upbringing, but several people have mentioned Birdsong's troubled past and his fight to turn that life around. There's no specific incidents I could find reported. I couldn't see any police reports or anything like that, except there was mention of him being part of a gang in Los Angeles called Black Pea Stone, and he also was mentioned to have one time been sued by then Attorney General Kamala Harris on charges stemming from an accessory to a robbery. Again, I couldn't find anything beyond that, and both of those incidents were reported by Marca, which is a Spanish newspaper in Madrid, and so I'm not sure where they're getting that information. They didn't cite their sources, and I couldn't find anything, so we'll have to take that information with a grain of salt. Mylik made his pro debut in 2017 when he defeated Desmond Johnson via knockout. He'd go on to fight another 10 times unbeaten before suffering his first draw versus Luis Romero in Tijuana, Mexico in 2020. After that, he picked up 4 more wins before suffering his first loss, and only loss, via Jose Quintana in 2023. But Mylik bounced back from that loss by defeating Jerry Bradford in March 2024 to become the new World Boxing Foundation International Welterweight Champion. This would be the last time that he was ever in a boxing ring fighting in front of a crowd. 6 months later, he would be dead. On the evening of September 29, 2024, Mylik was shot and killed in front of his mother's home on the 1600 block of 87th Street in Los Angeles. His mother says he was coming home for a Sunday dinner and had just exited his vehicle when 2 men opened fire from their car. Mylik took off running, and the gunman followed him while shooting. He collapsed in the driveway after suffering 7 gunshot wounds to his torso and was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. He was just shy of his 32nd birthday.
It's senseless. It's just senseless. It don't make sense to me. I love you. I just love my baby. I love my baby. They murdered my child in front of me. In front of me. Who does that?
Just a few days before he was killed, he shared a video of himself holding a new Mastiff puppy, which he'd adopted. Comments flooded in remembering his acts of service. "I remember watching you give your shoes to a homeless man once," someone wrote. Another person said, "You grew into a purpose-driven, humble man, and I was happy to witness your growth." Mylik was scheduled to fight the following month on September 26th, and the bout was scheduled to air on UFC Fight Pass. I reached out to the LAPD, who is handling the investigation, but no update or arrests appear to have been made. If and when I hear more, I'll provide an update. If anyone has any information about the 2 men involved, please contact the LAPD.
I don't wish death on nobody, not even the ones who murdered him. I don't have it in my heart to wish death on nobody. That's not me.
Like I said, I come from the streets, you know what I'm saying? I'm not no angel. So basically, long story short, even the house I live in right now, my neighbors, they wouldn't talk to me. They'll tell their kids to stay away from me. And I'm young at this time. I'm 16, 17, 18. And every time their kids would come try to holler at me, they like, nah, like get away from this dude. Stay away from him. So now, today, you get me? All them same people that tried to stay away from me, they love me and they support me. So it's like, doing positive and doing good is always better than doing bad. You're not gonna get the respect you think. You think you're getting respect, but people really don't like you. But when you're doing some shit like this, they gonna love you for that. You know what I'm saying? They gonna love you for that.
I told you guys that one would be a pretty quick one. There wasn't a lot of information. This is a new incident, but I really felt like it was important because since it is new, there may be people that know about it, can help. We want to keep this man's name and story alive. He was cut short so young in his career. Who knows where he could have gone. It does sound like he had turned his life around and was really helping the public. And I really want to make sure that we tell stories on this podcast that are not just of MMA fighters and boxers that are committing crimes, but also that crimes have been committed against them, because there is definitely a stigma about people who fight. And I want to make sure that all stories are told, not just the negative ones about the fighters. So again, if you have any information, please contact the LAPD, and please let me know in the comments if you have any ideas or anyone you want me to talk about for the next episode. Thanks for listening.